In the last session, we discussed about site-to-site VPN, point-to-site VPN, and express route. And after that, we are going to discussing about network security group. In this network security group, and how is useful and how to allow the particular port numbers, how to deny the particular port numbers, and how totally configure where we need to configure, how we can get the security. So naming it's a network security group. So based on that, how is the on the network is a how is this energy will provide the security and everything we'll try to understand. Network security group, it's a kind of a allow the traffic or deny the traffic using the port number. Using the port number, guys. Especially specific traffic you want to allow it or deny it. That means specific traffic means any traffic, it's a define some port numbers. Like example, SQL traffic 1433 MS SQL, like something web servers HTTP or HTTPS 80 and 443. If it is a SMB traffic 445, and it's a kind of FTP 21, SSH 22, RDB 3389, like that. Each and every service have separate port number is available, guys, by default. So there is a port numbers 1 to 65,535 or 36 port numbers is available, and by default 4095 IP port numbers is a by default allocated. Remaining is a dynamic port numbers. Remaining is a dynamic port numbers. Dynamic port numbers means it's a kind of adjusting by default what we are getting instead of that one, and we can allocate the separate port number and we can utilize those services. That way we can use the dynamic port numbers. So what is the port number before that? So as of now we discussed this much. What is the port number?
Put is something, some service we connect.
Mm,
Transit.
some Yeah, so it's a kind of port number means that specific service how needs to be like specific, like example, suppose we are using the web browser. Okay, in the web browser by default port number wise HTTP, they given the 80 port number. Okay, no need to provide in the web browser port number 80. So whenever we provide the any web browser HTTP means suppose HTTPS will take it because of nowadays most of the thing HTTPS 443. If I provide something Amazon.com, ICICIbank.com or SBI.com or something anything, if I provide it, automatically will get the HTTPS, and that particular service, its traffic is flowing to connect to the that web server where that host the web server, it will try to connect with this port number because of that particular site hosted on that particular port number on that server, they hosted with the particular port number. If it is a, it's a by default port number only they are using, like HTTP means 80, and if it is a kind of HTTPS means 443. If by default they are using, no need to provide any port number here. Suppose sometimes what will happen, they will define it 80 and 80 or something else they will provide it. In this scenario, that specific website and the colon and so port number we need to define it so that only our end users trying to connect that particular port number through that web server, and they will get the services. Otherwise it won't recognize that server won't recognize because of that port number, it's not available, and using that port number it's a service nothing running on that port number. If nothing running means it won't able to listen and it won't able to allow that any traffic. Okay, got it.
Yes, Kiran.
So simple thing to way to identify a specific process to like that is like within the network, that means in the private network or over the internet, and that message needs to be like try to identify and like get the reach to the server and get the services, reach to the servers and get the services. Simple thing. Okay. So port number, that is a meaning. So like each and every service you can see, and what we are working on, that any day-to-day wise, most of the port numbers is a like Windows servers means 3389. If it is a like Linux servers SSH, that means port number 22. So whenever Linux servers you are trying to connect it, putty you will open and you will given the IP address by default 22 port number, it's available. In case of anything changes, we need to write port number, we need to mention that place. Right port number, we need to mention that place. Nowadays everyone using the websites, so that means most of the time 443 port number only we are using, because of that is a secure port number. Why? Because of SSL certificate we are using, and that means secure socket layer, that means secure tunnel, it will create it data encrypted and transfer the data. That's the reason. So like SQL database backend, it's a 41433. And like that, each and every service is a specific port number. It's a defined, guys. That specific service, how to like communicate means that specific port number, through that only will communicate it. Okay. So without port number, we can't communicate, guys. We can't communicate it. So in the real time, most of the scenarios, what will happen, I will tell you my scenarios. Here they will say they deploy the server. They deploy the server. They deploy the server, and they taught this server for SFTP. SFTP. SFTP port number 22. But they, without installing this SFTP server or configuration, this port number it won't available. Simply everyone trying to connect it, server is a deploy, that means I can use the that server as a SFTP. No, that particular service or that software we need to install it, guys. We need to install it. If it is a suppose web server, so IIS role we need to install it. By default I won't get the, this is a as a web server, I won't get it. So how to get it? I need to install the IIS website. By default IIS website, if it is a install IIS like role is a install, and I will get the one default website. That default website port number is a port number 80, because of by default is a SSL certificate, we won't get it. So HTTP traffic only by default will allow it, and port number 80 only will get it. So that means whenever you install that particular software or service run, and after that only you will that server can able to listen that particular port number, through that that service can able to identify it. If that service is not running, that port number obviously it won't work, guys. So in my scenarios, what happened, like people are asking, I'm not able to connect that server. So telnet we are trying, we are unable to. So like this service is a we are expecting. So if you are expecting, you need to install it. First you need to start the service. After that only that port number outside can listen. Otherwise how that port number will work? Okay, understood? Got it,
Yeah, correct.
guys?
Yeah.
So like this, it's a each and every service, whenever you are trying to check it, that port number not communicating. First thing, because of in my experience, I'm seeing most of the people mistake is a without running the service, they are trying to check the port number is a communicating or not. That is the first mistake generally will do it. So first we need to verify that particular service is a running or not. If it is a running and that service is working within the from that server, from server itself it's a working that service, yes. Now still I'm not getting outside means we need to look into that. Might be Windows firewall it's not allowing, might be it's a in our network security group in the subnet level we are going to associate, might be it won't allow it, or firewall, Azure firewall, if it is not allowing. So many things we need to check it. After that only, first of all, we need to basic troubleshooting wise, we need to validate it from server itself that service is a running or not. If it is a running, that particular service up and running, and yes, after that only we have to look into that other troubleshooting. Okay, so my experience wise, I'm telling guys, it's not for applicable to everyone. So this is a my like my own personal view. That's it. Okay, so coming to here, this network security group, what is the use? Suppose this server I am running, okay, and this service is a providing the this server is a providing the this so and so some services. Now these services I don't want over the internet to allow the access. I don't want allow to over the internet to access this service. Okay, so I can associate the network security group on the subnet level or that particular virtual machine network interface card level. Each and every virtual machine, there is a network interface card is available. That means what is the network interface card means? It's a your suppose your laptop, you are like connecting the cable to your laptop to that network interface card. That means that port LAN port, I can call LAN port, local area network. LAN port is a I can connect it. That is a call network interface card. That is a network interface card. Without network interface card, we can't communicate to the network. Okay, this is a very important. If it is a Wi-Fi network interface card is a required. Wi-Fi network interface card is a required. So nowadays inbuilt wise, we are getting this network interface card, like Wi-Fi as well as LAN port, everything we are getting in the laptops by default. If it is a desktop, separate Wi-Fi network interface card, we need to attach it. We need to attach it. But in Azure platform, totally this is a virtual mission. Virtual network interface card we are getting. Virtual network interface card we are getting. Now, this network security group, we are going to associate to the virtual machine. That means on the network interface card, it's going to associate. On the network interface card, it's going to attach it. Otherwise, entire subnet level, instead of individual one by one virtual machine, suppose in my subnet, I have hundreds of virtual machine, 100 network security group and attaching means it's not easy task to manage the things. That's the reason generally real time will associate the network security group at subnet level. At subnet level, we are going to associate the network security group so that any rules, it's a depends on requirement that particular like rules will created. That means which port number needs to be allowed, which port number I want to deny it. By default, it will block all the over the internet guys. By default, it's block the over the internet all the port numbers. Depends on our requirement, we need to create a rules accordingly, it will allow it over the internet. Try to understand. By default, over the internet it won't allow to any traffic until unless we need to create a rules, so that only it will allow it. Okay, and this is a we can associate the subnet level or network interface card level, we can associate. Okay, in this like network security group, we can create a different rules, IP address using that and tag using that, port numbers, especially port numbers is a we can create a rule that is a deny or allow it, like that we can create it. So let's see is a practical wise, so you will get the more clarity what I'm saying that here. So more clarity wise we'll discuss on this practically. So suppose I'm going to create a one virtual machine guys. Virtual machine, create virtual machine. So here that particular subscription resource group and virtual machine name, I'm going to provide it. It's something like a web VM or something like you can give it the test VM also. That's not a problem. Any name you can provide it. And here I'm providing the East US2. And here no redundancy. And operating system, I'm going to select the Windows Server 2022 latest one. and it's a VM sizes and user ID and password. Okay, and click it none. It's I don't want allow it by default any port number. So that's the reason I'm giving the public inbound ports none. Okay, and next disk. It's nothing changes in the disk. On the networking, select the existing virtual network and subnet, and it's a public IP address. Why I'm assigning the public IP address means by default we don't have any point to site to site or express route any connection from my desktop to that means my home network to Azure platform. So that's the reason this virtual machine I want access means I require the public IP address. So that's the reason I'm assigning the public IP address. Okay. And right now, network security group, it's I don't want in this particular virtual machine level. Whenever we are deploying the virtual machine, by default, we'll get this option, guys. By default, we'll get the network security group, we'll get it. But real time, in the real time, in the real time, each and every virtual machine level, we won't create a network security group. So must and should we need to click it none. Okay, most of the like companies I seen and all the projects and they won't use the network security group on the virtual machine level. That means network interface card level they won't use it. So obviously you need to keep it none, guys. Okay, most of the people, some of the people is like made the mistake and like network interface card level also they will create a one more network security group instead of subnet level, and one more security group they will create it, and subnet level and network interface card level two network security group. Lot of things it's a confuse and get the lot of problems. That's the reason don't is a be careful when you are deploying the thing. You will need to understand properly here. Okay, right now I keep it none. Okay, remaining nothing I'm changing here. Management and monitoring and review and created. Okay, in the advanced I need to disable. I don't want custom. Advanced monitoring I don't want disable. I want disable. So I don't want is a monitoring of boot diagnostics. Okay, and create it. Virtual machine creating. Okay, now can anyone tell me, can I able to RDB of this virtual machine? Can I take the RDB of this virtual machine or not? Based on what I given the configuration of options I selected. So based on that, can I take the RDB of this virtual machine or not, guys?
Yeah, Kiran, we can take it over to remote desktop.
Sorry.
We can take it now for VM. Anything specific that is create?
Just I'm asking when I'm deploying, I already explained the each and every option. Like options means that specifically network security group, what I did it, I explained. So based on that, what you understanding, I'm asking guys. So can I take the RDB of this virtual machine or not? Based on it's today discussion wise. What about other people? Can I take the RDB of this virtual machine or not? Satish, Vinay, Sudharani.
We can take that.
We can take the RDB of this virtual machine. What about Satish? Satish, are you there? What about Sudharani?
Yes, we can take.
Okay, so I'm trying to take the RDB of this virtual machine. You can see here. We can able to take the RDB of this virtual machine. Why? Because of we are not restricted anything on this. That means we are not assigned the any network security group, nothing here, and it won't block it by default. It won't block it by default. So by default over the internet, I can take the RDB of this virtual machine. Yes. So where we can see under networking, if it is any network security group is available, and from this place we can see the inbound rules, inbound port rules, and outbound port rules. Accordingly we can understand, okay, so and so it's a create a rule and it won't allow it, like that we can understand here. But right now nothing is available. Due to that, it's a there is no blocker here, so we can able to access the this virtual machine over the internet by default. Because of over the internet, why I can able to access means I assign the public IP address. I assign the public IP address. If you assign the private IP address, it won't applicable. Over the internet, we can't take it because of without public IP address, that virtual machine we can't able to access the over the internet. Okay, got it? What I'm saying
Yes, got it.
now. Now network security group. So even before that, virtual network will go, and I can show you it's a really available or not, that network security group. So this is a my virtual network. Go to the subnet, and that subnet, it's a I don't have any network security group, and route table are deallocated any two, and IP address is a 10 only, like that is available. So that means there is no network security group. So let me deploy the network security group. Create a network security group, and here I need to provide the that subscription and resource group, and give the name is a energy 01, like that, and which region we want. Accordingly we need to select it that region, and next tag and review and create it. Very simple to create a network security group. Before going to understand the network security group, so I mentioned just before inbound port rules and outbound port rules. What is the inbound, what is the outbound, guys? Very basic only, but that should be, everyone should have clarity on that. What is a inbound, what is a outbound? In which scenario we can say that is a inbound, which scenario we can say that is a outbound? Suppose
Very
example, I will give the here, this is a my VM, and I'm trying to over the internet. It's a connecting the this virtual machine. From this virtual machine going to the outside the traffic. So now what is the inbound? What is the inbound? What is the outbound? Which one is the inbound?
the
First of all,
traffic which is coming
Connection.
towards the VM, that is inbound,
okay,
and the
you are
way the
saying
traffic
that
going.
you are saying this is a inbound.
Yes,
Okay, so obviously is a second one is a outbound. You are saying that, yes.
yes.
So remaining people same thing, or it's any changes? Any vice
Same,
versa?
Kiran.
Same. Okay. So what I'm getting the traffic, that is a inbound. What going outside from me, what is the going, that is a outbound. So virtual machine perspective also same thing, guys. So it's what is a getting the traffic to VM, that is a inbound. What traffic is going to, that is a called outbound. Okay. What is a going to outside is a that is a outbound. So we understand the basic this point. So based on this point only, you need to get the more clarity this NS network security group. Okay, because of it's a very important. And you can see here overview, by default there is a 6 rules is available. There are 6 rules is available. In the 6 rules, first 3 rules is the inbound rules, and the second 3 rules is the outbound security rules. They clearly mention inbound security rules and outbound security rules. What are the by default rules? So based on that, so we can understand the so furtherly and what exactly this is a one, why by default we can able to access, why by default we can't able to access. We can understand the few things here. Okay, by default few things we need to understand here, and 65,500 and 65,001 and 65,000 only numbers is available. So here this numbers is a very important, guys. Why is the important means, based on this number only, it's a which rule is a overriding the which rule, like that it's a define it. So that means highest number lowest priority, highest number lowest priority, lowest number highest priority. So that means 65,500 is the highest number here in this. So that means this is the lowest priority. 65,000 is a lowest number compared to this is 65,500. This is the like number wise is a value wise is a low, but highest priority. So this is the thumb rule, guys. When you are creating the any rule in the Azure firewall or network security group, this is a thumb rule you need to understand. You need to understand the this thumb rule. That means highest number lowest priority, lowest number highest priority. This is a thumb rule you need to understand everywhere. Okay, what exactly it's happen due to these numbers? What is the first rule? Is a 65,500 wise deny all outbound any, that means any port number, any protocol, any source, any destination is a deny. That is a I don't want allow any traffic, any port number, any protocol. I don't want allow the traffic. That is a by default. But overriding wise, it's one more rule is a created here. That is a called 65,001 and allow internet outbound. Allow internet outbound. Any port number, any protocol, any source, internet. Destination is a internet. From that virtual machine, if you see, this is a allowing to over the internet, and it's a allow. It's a allow. That means from that virtual machine, from VM, if it is associated the this network security group, still from the VM, I can able to access the internet. From this VM, I can able to access the internet. Understood what I'm saying? From VM, I can able to access the internet. Suppose over the internet, different sites is available. I can able to access all the internet services, like any website, anything I can able to access it. Suppose if I'm going to host it the website on this VM, like suppose I install the IS role and abc.com like website I hosted, but this website I can't able to access it abc.com until unless I need to allow it. Understood what I'm saying? From this VM, I can able to access the internet because of due to this is a by default rule 65,001. Allow internet outbound, any port number, any protocol, any source, and destination is a internet. And one more rule, allow VNet outbound, any port number, any protocol, virtual network to virtual network. That means in Azure platform, any virtual network to any virtual network. If it is a virtual network to virtual network communication is there, yes, this network security group by default it will allow it, and outbound wise, and we can able to communicate it. It won't block it the within the Azure platform by default rule wise. It won't block it within the Azure platform. All the virtual network it will communicate it each other. It's a by default, it won't block it anything. Okay, any questions on outbound rules? If
No.
silence is a clear. Okay, and inbound security rules. What is the inbound security rules? Here also same thing, guys. Highest number, lowest priority. That way 65,500. That is a deny all inbound, and any port number, any protocol, any source, any destination is a by default is a disable. deny. That means it won't allow it by default. But overriding wise 65,001. That means compared to this number is a low and highest priority. It's a overriding the existing rule. So that means allow Azure load balancer inbound. Azure load balancer inbound any port number, any protocol from Azure load balancer. Source is a Azure load balancer and destination is a any and allow it. So that means what happened in front of load balancer I'm using and it's a backend pool. This is a virtual machine over the internet or within the organization. What traffic is I'm getting the load balancer and load balancer through that. If I'm getting the traffic, it will allow it through load balancer. I'm getting the traffic to my virtual machine. Allow it. Okay. This is about this second rule in the inbound security rule. And first rule 65,000. That means compared to these numbers is the lowest number, highest priority. So that means what is the saying that all VNet inbound, any port number, any protocol, virtual network to virtual network and allow it. Previously what we discussed virtual network to virtual network outbound, here now inbound. So by default in Azure platform all virtual networks still if it is a you have energy still it will communicate by default. Even if you associate the network security group it will associate the security group network security group still all virtual network all the virtual machine within the Azure platform it will communicate it each other. Understood? Any questions?
No questions.
So in interview, sometimes they will ask you guys. In interview, they will ask you these questions. Like, can you please explain about by default rules in network security group, outbound rules and inbound rules? Can you please explain it? By default, network security group, can you please explain it? Like that, they will ask you. You need to explain about these all 6 rules. Understood? Coming to now, this is a by default network security group rules. Is it possible to change it or modify or delete it these existing rules? No, by default rules, we can't delete it or we can't modify it. Existing rules, we can't modify it. But overriding wise, yes, we can create a rule. Overriding wise, we can create a rules. That's it. Okay. And already I mentioned we need to associate to the network security group to associate to the network interface card or subnet level. Network interface card level or subnet level we need to associate. So any one of the level we can associate. So right now I'm going to associate the generally real time wise will associate the subnet level. So if it is a networks interface card level you want to associate, go to the network interface card and associate, and which network interface card you want to associate, you can select it that particular network interface card. I don't want, go to the subnet, associate, and that particular virtual network and particular subnet you need to select it and click on OK. Now this network security group it's associating to the that particular subnet. Okay. And now coming to in this subnet only my virtual machine IP address I'm getting. My virtual machine IP address I'm getting. That means my network interface card associate the that particular subnet level. That particular subnet level associate. As per this one, now can I take the RDB of that virtual machine or not? As per these rules and based on discussion, so can I take the RDB of this virtual machine or not, guys? Can I take the RDB of virtual machine or not? I'm disconnecting existing connection. Can anyone tell me?
Again, what will you have applied in that NSG rule? Can you show that once?
Okay.
No, I don't.
This
I
is
don't
the
think
outbound.
we
This is the
cannot take
inbound.
that. We
We
cannot take
can't
that.
take the RDB. So what about remaining people? So I'm asking remaining like Sudharani, Ram Koteshwar Rao, and Satish. What about your answer? Even I'm not getting response, at least yes or no or something. That means you people are really listening. Ram Koteshwar now not available. Satish, are you there actually? So previously also you are not responded. Sudharani, what about your answer?
Mm. Yes, Kiran.
Can we take the RDB off or not?
Yes, we can.
We can able to take the RDB. Okay. Satish, are you there? I think he is not there. Okay. So here by default rule wise, we can't take the RDB of this virtual machine. Why? Because of by default rules wise, it won't allow the over the internet by default. Yes, it's just allowing the VNet to VNet, it's allowing, and Azure load balancer from that it's allowing. But directly I'm trying to connect the this virtual machine RDB. Directly I'm trying to connect the this virtual machine. You can see I'm trying to connect the directly this virtual machine RDB. So I'm not getting the response here. If it is getting the response means immediately it will pop up the window and give the user ID and password it will ask, and we need to provide it and it will allow it. But that is not happening here. That's not happening here. That means by default, I can't take the RDB of this virtual machine over the internet. Okay.
So, Kiran, one question, Kiran.
Mm.
What is the use of taking applying the NS0 on the network interface card? Because it is for the individual VM. So, in what scenarios we will apply this?
What scenarios means they given the choice. If you want, you can associate. Okay.
Okay.
So generally, if you associate the network interface card level, and generally that is a more administrative task is a burden. Okay, that's the reason it's a best practice wise or minimize the burden also wise will associate the subnet level. Okay,
Okay.
and even limitation wise, if you look into limitation wise, network security group per subscription per region wise, they given the 400 energies only we can able to create it
Okay.
per region per subscription wise 400 energies only we can able to create it. If it is a more than 400 energies we can't create it. Okay,
Okay.
so these all limitation and everything best practice wise we are using the subnet level. But if you want you can use it that network security group level also, network interface card level also you can associate, there is no restriction. But it's a individual one by one, one by one, one by one doing, it's a very hard to handling and creating the rules and everything is a managing, it's a not an easy task. Yes,
Yes.
it's a group of wise if you are handling it's a very easy. Yes,
Yes.
that's the reason only, nothing more.
Okay.
Okay, each and everything is a like example, if you are going to purchase the like phone, Nowadays is a phone, backend is a 3 cameras, 4 cameras also is there. Why they given means each and every is a specification is there. If you want, you can use it. Otherwise, don't use it. That's it. Simple. So they given some specification, one camera, some specification, some camera like that. Same like here, they given option. If you want to use it, that particular network interface card level or subnet level, up to you. Okay.
Okay.
Any more questions? Okay. If no questions, no doubts, it's good. So almost I can read here 2 people only. Satish is not responding. I think he is not there. Okay, we'll discuss tomorrow, and most of the people not available today, and we'll discuss tomorrow remaining topic. Okay.
Okay, Kiran. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you.